Parshas Chayei Sara, we find that Avram Avinu commands his Eved Eliezer to find a shidduch for Yitzchak. He tells Eliezer to go back to his hometown, back to his mishpacha, and from there will be a woman who will be fit to build Klal Yisrael together with his son. Eliezer follows the command of Avram, and he puts himself by a well and says that that girl who will offer not only me to drink, but my camels as well, that will be an indication that she's the boundless chesed. She's someone who's fit to be in the Beis Avram, to become part of Avram Avinu's family. What happens? Rivka comes out, and immediately she does exactly what Eliezer said. She gives him to drink, his camels to drink. Not only she does it with alacrity. She's quick, only to do whatever chesed she can do. And Eliezer sees in this girl that she is the fitting shidduch. But we need to ask a question. As we see from the parsha further on, her father Besuel was a rasha, was an evil man. Her brother Lavan was a rasha, an evil man. We don't know anything about her mother, but we can only imagine someone who was married to a rasha and had a son as a rasha. She couldn't have been too wonderful herself. So let's look at the world that Rivka, this little girl, is growing up in. She's growing up in a world of Rishoyim. She's growing up in a world which is anything but a world of chesed, a world of kindness, a world of midas toivus, a world that we would think would be the breeding ground for the mother of Klal Yisrael. And for some reason, somehow she was able to resist her environment and maintain herself. Not to be mushba, not to be influenced by the people around her. And the truth is, we see this elsewhere as well. By Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, when he left Beis Lavan and he's on his way to meet Esav, he tells Esav to send a message, Im Lavan Garti, Taryag Mitzvah Shemarti. I kept the Taryag Mitzvahs and I lo Lamart Mimaisav Lavan. I didn't learn from Lavan's actions. So we see it's possible. But when we think deeper into it, it doesn't seem to be much of a comparison at all. Because Yaakov Avinu was born to Yitzchak Avinu. Yitzchak Avinu was the Gadol Ador. Rivka, his wife, they built a home of Torah, a home of Kedusha, a home of Tahara. And Yaakov Avinu lived in that house for 63 years. And when he left on his way to Lavan, he went to Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever for another 14 years. For 77 years, he was in environments which were filled with Torah, which were filled with that which would build and fortify someone from being impacted and affected by the negative influences around him. We can't say the same for Rivka. She was a little girl. She was growing up in a house of Rishoyim, in a world of Rishoyim. Where did she get this strength? Where did she get this vision? Where did she get the capacity to withstand all of the negative influences of her environment? Revolba speaks about precisely this. There's a Mishnah in Kedushin, a Bryce in Kedushin. The Bryce says that a person who eats in the shuk, he eats in public places. He doesn't eat in a more private manner. So one says he's like a dog. The other one says he's pasalatus. He's invalid as a witness. And the Rambam paskins this way. Why is that? Rashi explains that because he doesn't have an embarrassment, he doesn't have a sense of kavod about himself, that he's able to eat in the shuk in front of everybody else. It's like going into a mall and just walking around the mall eating the food. He's able to do that. He doesn't have a dignity to himself. And once he doesn't have that dignity, so then he's not going to have the dignity that it's going to be required to keep him honest. He'll even be made sheker. He'll even give false testimony. Says Revolba, how could it be? How could it be just the fact that he's eating in the shuk, he's eating in public places and not in a more dignified manner? How can that mean that he's to the point of pasal be'edus? It can't be that it's a terrible thing by itself. He's eating kosher food. He's making brachas. What is it then? Says Revolba, Ein kan ra mamish. This is not mamish ra. Ra chesorin shel adinas nefesh. It's a lacking of adinas nefesh. There's a certain edelkeit in a person's nefesh. And that edelkeit Why is that so precious? Because if a person doesn't have that, then he's not going to express kavod. He's not going to act in a dignified manner. In other words, the acting in a dignified manner is the external expression of a sense of chashivas of oneself, a sense of the neshama inside of oneself, a sense of being elevated in oneself. And when a person acts in an undignified manner, he's expressing the opposite. He doesn't have it. Once he doesn't have it, once he's not in touch with that nefesh, and he doesn't have the adinas and nefesh, so then he's liable, he's open to doing things and even lying in Bezdin. Says Rava, the external expression of honor, of dignity, is coming. The source is from the kedusha a person feels inside of himself. Perhaps we could say that Rivka, albeit she was a little girl, and albeit she didn't have a world of Torah around her, like Yaakov Avinu, but she had a sense of herself. She had a sense of her adinas and nefesh. She had a sense that she was an elevated being despite her surrounding, despite her family. And by doing that, she was able to maintain herself and live in a world of ruchnias, of her own world. And when she was offered the opportunity to leave, Eliezer said, I want you to come now. And the family said, I want you to stay. She said, I'm not staying here. Because now I can be in an environment which is matim, which will be inconsistent with what I am internally. Now the external world I live in will be the same. There was a story from the Holocaust. There was a woman who, as we know in the Holocaust, the Nazis did terrible, terrible things. And amongst the terrible things they did, the Germans would take Jewish women, Jewish girls, and use their bodies in terrible, terrible ways. Destroyed them as people. This young girl, when she went in, she was 17, 18 years old. When she came out 6 years later, people thought she was 70. This is how they destroyed the person inside of her. But did they? Did they destroy that person inside of her? Someone once asked this woman, how did you maintain yourself? They treated you like a behemoth. They treated you like an animal. How did you keep your human being inside of you? She said, I wasn't the animal. They were the animals. I remained intact. I had, in so many words, this adinas and nefesh. It's possible. It's possible no matter what environment we're in, no matter what challenges we're subjected to, no matter what happens in our life and what our external surroundings are, if we can be in touch with that adinas and nefesh, with the holy, special, pure part of our being, we're able to live like a yid's supposed to live no matter what situation we're in. This is the limud we can have from our mother, Rivka Imeinu.